So for the cameras, please introduce yourself. Give us your full name and title.
My name is Kevin Cooper, better known as Junkanoo Paparazzi, Razzi, or Papa.
All right. So welcome to this illustrious episode.
I grew up in the Pipe from Sedition area. That's between Chesapeake Road, Jerome Avenue, Mackey Street, and Bar 20 area. That's where I grew up. My father has a shop on Montrose Avenue, which is basically in the heart of the Valley Boys territory. I had a few friends in the neighborhood that were Valley Boys, and that is how I got involved with Junkanoo. I always was interested in Junkanoo, but never participated, and probably until about 1920. So I was a late starter. Started with the Valley Boys in, I think it was 1991 or 1990. My first Junkanoo morning would have been the Bahamas games. That was the New Year's morning. I could remember that like yesterday. It was a referee outfit, a basketball in my hand. Cloth was allowed back then. Yeah, that's my first morning. Got bit with the Junkanoo bug, and I've been a part of Junkanoo one way or the other ever since.
So, how did things progress? Like, what was Junkanoo like at that point in time? What was the overall feeling like and attitude towards Junkanoo like in the country at that time? Because this would have been late 80s, early 90s, so
Yeah.
this was almost like, I guess, if you would say the third generation, because this when a lot of the mainstays either started to fade away or started to break off into some of the newer groups that we know today.
Well, yeah, actually, I have an interesting story about that. This is actually the year that Roots broke off from the Valley.
Okay.
I was supposed to, well, the tradition with the Valley Boys at the time is when you join the group, you either beat drum or ring cowbell to start in the back line, and you progress from there. Because Roots had split and the group knew Roots was leaving, they had a lack of dancers at the time, so I was able to jump the line, so to speak, and went straight into dancer line. And that's one of the reasons I can't ring a cowbell or beat a drum to save my life right now.
Okay.
Say it what it is. So I've progressed from the dancer line to, I guess you could call it step down, before there was a step down, what you call it A-frame. And then to lead costume before I retired from active Junkanoo. So my Junkanoo experience has been primarily on the pasting and preparing costume side of it, as opposed to being on the musicianship side of it.
Mm-hmm. So, how long does this persist until you started to think maybe I want to try something else?
When I think it was in 2004, going into 2005 season, I pasted a lead costume, and I wasn't very happy with the results of the costume or the pace of when the costume was being produced. So I just decided to call it a day. I retired from active Junkanoo. Didn't have no fanfare, didn't tell anybody about it, just stopped. But at that time, there was a serious lull in the Junkanoo arena where persons weren't able to see themselves. And when I say see themselves, I mean visually. At that time, the newspaper will have maybe one or two costumes on the front page in color. Mm. And I think it would be the center page of the newspaper at that time. It would be black and white. And it usually tend to be the same people over and over and over again. So I decided at that time to start covering Junkanoo from a Junkanoo's perspective, which I did. I always remember my first experience on Bay Street. Total terror frightened out of my boots.
You talking about as a photographer or you talking about as a performer?
As a photographer.
Okay.
The reason being, I had no formal training. I just picked up my my dad's digital camera at the time. And that's when digital cameras just first came out. So this was probably a point and shoot. Cool Pics, I think it was a Nikon Cool Pics. Probably $1,500 at the time because they were pretty expensive because it was digital. And I just went out there and I just thought I was a photographer and I just shot. Got a few interesting shots. If you see some of them now, you probably laugh at me, but that was my introduction through photography per se. Since that time, I upgraded, of course, I upgraded my equipment. And my skill set has dramatically changed. I'm what you would call a self-taught photographer. I don't have any formal training. And that's probably why I specialize in Junkanoo, because it feels like second nature. It doesn't feel like there's no pressure. Right, no angle I'm looking for. I know basically everything. Basically, I could actually call out to a person and ask them to do certain things because I have that familiarity with the Junkanoo revelers. But all in all, it's been a great experience. Past 18, going on 19 years, probably 20 years now. It's been a while. I've created a massive archive. I'll say that much. A lot of people contact me for, unfortunately, when loved ones pass on, for Junkanoo photographs in that regard. But for the most part, majority of my photographs can be found on social media. So people just grab what they want to grab and go from there.
So, what was Junkanoo Media like in 2005? Because obviously, it is more commonplace now. You have social platforms dedicated to I guess, highlighting the culture. Not just social platforms, but other photographers that have come on and made a brand name for themselves. People like myself and others have started documenting it from a social media aspect and started sharing tidbits for the world to see. And, for those Bahamas that live abroad to have a little feel and a little soundtrack and a little glimpse of what it is to be Bahamian. So what was that like?
At that time, it was pretty, believe it or not, it was pretty archaic. Because the system in place at the time was if a photographer took your photograph, you'd have to go to his studio and look through an album and then look for your photograph through an album at that time.
Oh, wow.
If you could find a photographer at all with your photograph at that time. So at that, I think it was 2006, I had to come up with a platform or some venue or some way to show my photographs. I've tried slideshows and practices. I've tried making books at the time, but that, nobody wants to spend that kind of money on a book and then only see yourself inside it. So I came up with JunkanoOPaparazzi.com. I think that was 2006. Had no experience or very little web building experience, but trial and error. Started off posting all my photographs full size, using up all the data space, lack of knowledge at the time. But over the years, it's grown. And I think it grew to a point of almost cult following. And that was a surprise to me to know how many people were following Junkanoo Paparazzi at the time. And a little tidbit, Junkanoo Paparazzi. I started Junkanoo Paparazzi the same year Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook.
Okay.
So, but I didn't make the billions, so.
Yeah, because even when I heard Junkanoo Paparazzi, because paparazzi was a really buzzword, even though this been in existence from over 100 years. It was really a buzzword, especially back then, because it was the coming of age of the socialite. And, people being famous for nothing.
Right.
Without having, actual talent or, being an actor or a musician or entertainer.
It was a little precursor before that. I think paparazzi really became popular through the death of Princess Diana at the time. and it was a buzzword, and I actually got that name from Coach Junkanoo, because I had started, like I said, I had my dad's brand new spanking digital camera inside the shack one day, and the fella asked me, say, "You believe you was paparazzi? Or you were taking pictures inside the shack?" And at first, when you get new nicknames, you tend to shy away from it, or you try. You're right, right, and that one stuck. Like most of them, when you don't like it, it usually stick. And when the opportunity came for me needing a name for my website, I say, "Hey, Junkanoo Paparazzi." It doesn't get any simpler than that. My initial goal for Junkanoo Paparazzi, believe it or not, was to have a photographer in every group. That way that the groups would feel more comfortable with them and would be able to document, like what people do now, the deconstruction of a costume. That was always one of my goals, but how can I say it? The secrecy at the time, or the...
Yeah, like where you want to sell these, we can't trust you.
Right, or I'm going to show it to somebody else, but you have a totally different thing from them. I'm not going to post anything until after the parade, but we still have that distrust today. But truth be told, everybody know your theme, what you bring in before most of your group know.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that happen?
No, but you see that a lot of groups now have, if you don't have no social media team documenting your progress and things like that, you don't really say nothing.
That's right. You have to put it out there. You put the fly out there, and you
hype up the group.
Right.
Saying what your practice is.
Because Junkanoo is so much more than quote unquote. What is it? What's the designation for Junkanoo now? It's
cultural heritage thing.
Cultural heritage, and the funding part is the part I'm trying to get at now. The funding is non-profit.
Okay, yeah.
Non-profit.
Which you still do. I mean, I guess when the basic aspect of it ain't a full.
Does it have to be a non-profit for you to get government funding?
No, because you get certain tax breaks and things like that when you have a non-profit. So
okay, I just because
you gotta get fund non-profit mean you ain't making money. That mean you ain't taking money.
Right. Here's my thing. I am a Junkanoo. Junkanoo E, Junkanoo I, whatever you want to call me. Junkanoo Paparazzi, Papa, Kevin, whatever nickname, every era that you've known me from. Junkanoo is a business. And we need to start treating it as such. Why is it that every country in the world
benefits from their culture?
Exactly. Why can't we benefit from our culture? Are we afraid of our culture, or we don't have enough pride in what we produce, or we don't have enough knowledge to know what's going on with the rest of the world? It's beyond me, because we could spend 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months producing a costume, what I call fine art, and then the next day after the parade, we put it in a 60-foot, 40-foot, 20-foot container on the back of a truck. And then we put it in the shack until the Junkanoo season starts again. And then we say, we're going to clean the shack. So what happens to all those costumes while it's in the shack? Mass cleanup. Everything goes in one pile. So I have many questions. Why are we carrying the costumes back to the shack? What's the purpose? To rot? To deteriorate? There is value in your costume. There is value in fine art. There is value in Junkanoo. Tourists show us that every year.
So, what you think about how they're making preservations like the different museums?
What museums?
Okay, so you have the Nassau Cruise Port Museum, you have Junkanoo World, you have Educulture Museum. I know.
I applaud all of those entities, but realistically, you're space limited with all of those. Each one of those entities you call, they're limited with space. They could probably take on anything from. They could take on anything from a maybe off the shoulder, a dancer maybe, at best. I was at Bahamas last week and I saw the off the frames. What happened to the lead costumes?
They get broken down. Because I mean, yeah, but you are right because most of the times, a lot of people. I only saw in Atlantis, it looked like they had a banner in the front in the Royal Tower, but most of the time, people's frontal piece would be off their shoulder. I never thought about that. So, what's something that I have uncovered, and speaking with different people about Junkanoo is like, the Smithsonian has a whole Junkanoo exhibit.
Yes, they had a whole contingent went down to Smithsonian. I think it was a 300-man contingent for the, I think it was the anniversary. But anyway, we had a huge contingent went down for Smithsonian. I'm not specific on the dates, but yes, I'm very aware of that, yeah.
Yeah, because in my mind, I was like, okay, if the Smithsonian has a Junkanoo exhibit, who got paid to take all these costumes up there, and then there hasn't been education to treat Junkanoo like a fine art, which it really is.
I think Junkanooers themselves have to learn or to appreciate what Junkanoo has become. Nowadays, we're moving away, we're transitioning once again from one material source to another. We've moved from sponge to newspaper to crepe paper, and now we're transitioning into some newer materials. I know for sure over the past 2 or 3 years, maybe just shortly after the pandemic, there's been a lot of chatter about these new materials. But these materials been around for maybe 10 years.
So what materials you referring to exactly?
As simple as felt.
Okay.
They have a new material now that looks like fringe. They call you the street name. I don't know the proper name. The street name is tennis ball because it has that texture. And if you look at it and you put a decoration on top of it, you can't tell the difference. And so it's just like a plug and play now. You just cut out, stick in, and it cuts down on your time. Junkanoos nowadays, they trying to find all the kind of excuses in the book to introduce, or not introduce it because it's already here.
Yeah, it was for men or...
Right. Yeah. So it's how you use these materials. There's a place for felt. I mean, there's no reason for you to paste behind a leaf. For aesthetics purposes, you don't want it to be white or brown, but technically you really shouldn't have to paste behind something that's not going to be actually visible. So I'm a proponent and an opponent of these new materials. I mean, there's a place for them, but I still believe that crepe paper is that what makes us unique from every other. That's what separates us from other Caribbean festival costuming. The fact that you put it strip for strip and it has value, but you know why it doesn't have value? Because we don't put value into it.
And nobody paying for it.
Right. Are we offering it for sale?
Only when it's like people selling like
a doll, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember Jackson Burnside had maybe 15 or 20 talented artisans, and what he did was he used to make Christmas ornaments for Kelly's. I think maybe 2 of those artisans still carrying on the art today. I think it's Papi off East Street. That's somebody you need to interview him.
Okay.
And there's next Devin. Devin makes the little dolls, and I think Jermaine also. So they're carrying on the craft, but it's not to that level what it used to be. So believe it or not, we were selling in creative crafts more 15 years ago than we are today. And that's crazy.
So, a conversation we was having earlier, where I say like how our overall conversation is they're saying a lot of Junkanooers are saying, or like early, like to say Junkanooers would say the art is dying, but then I would say, okay, well, you still have people building in the shack and things like that, but then it's like, well, there's a bunch of old men and there ain't really too many younger new faces coming on the scene. And, with that, you have, when you come to invention and they're saying things like fringing is dying, to speak to your point. What's your thoughts on that? Because like what I seen, I had a conversation with you, like people saying that you see more jewel and a little space, so You ain't really covering up. You really can't see the crepe paper if it was there, so you start tricking the system.
Agreed. Crepe paper has taken on the role as the background or just the color. So today's Junkanoo consider or spend more time decorating or putting what I call the finishing touches, the intricacies of a costume. They put more emphasis into that than they would into pasting. Pasting is basically just the background nowadays. I still consider it to be fine art. I love to paste. I love to cut paper. I'm in the minority. When I started Junkanoo, believe it or not, a gallon of glue was $19. I think it's like $32 now.
And I know contact cement went up from I think $60 a gallon to something almost close to $100.
It's gone up astronomically. So the cost of Junkanoo is no joke. No part of Junkanoo is a joke. But you know what's interesting? When I started brushing back in 2005, it cost me $3 to get a sheet of paper cut. And they had that old-fashioned cutting machine back then with shears and machine like that. Yep. Would you believe that today it's still $3 a sheet if you want to get, yeah?
So why people aren't taking advantage more of it? So still $3 a sheet. I guess because I always say names like things. So
yeah, definitely.
Once someone start doing something, people will be like, you know what? I'm gonna let it look fresh. Let me start doing that too.
Junkanoo is a very copycat. Once the judges validate a costume or something new, everybody's going to bring it next year, and that's a guarantee. I could give you several examples of that. I could give you
go right ahead.
Tunkalakas, everything new in Junkanoo, the judges validated it. For me, when I first came into Junkanoo, styrofoam was considered outlawed until the Valley Boys brought Freedom Morning, and Milo Buttlehead was carved and looked just like the man. You couldn't disqualify the costume. That was the best costume on Bay Street. Well, actually, maybe not to be the best costume, but it's the best head on Bay Street at the time, and it was new. And once the judges validated that styrofoam hands, styrofoam feet, and styrofoam heads were the standard from there on. All the major groups who could afford it had styrofoam features. The next parade, or the next cycle of parades. Maybe not at New Year's, but the Boxing Day and New Year's Day parade. Same thing with the Konkalakas. Same thing with what else is cymbals. One group bought cymbals because they were playing a particular song that required a cymbal, and the next parade, everybody had cymbals.
Yeah.
So feathers.
So feathers wasn't always a thing?
No, feathers came into play when beads. I'd say around the same time I started Junkanoo. That was, you asked what was the new innovative thing at the time. It was decorations came in around the time I started Junkanoo. And we would spend, I don't even want to talk to it, anywhere from $500 to maybe $1,000 on these little studs and beads. And it was new and it was different. So it was a way to, Gus would say, make a costume shine. So it was to embellish the costume and to make it better. And I wouldn't say it was the first time Junkanoo, decorations was introduced to Junkanoo, but that was like the boom of it.
So with that, where do you, well, in your opinion, what was some of your top moments in your whole 20 years?
My total 20 years as a photographer or as a participant?
As a photographer. Because I feel like it was
my top
mornings. Like any given morning, you could be like, bro, what the five that stand out most in your mind and be like, wait, this was a dread morning. Because I feel like at a certain point there was a lull in creativity in Junkanoo in the 2010s a little bit, and then it probably by the end of the last decade, people started to sort of...
You know what? I'm thankful for one family because I think they were the most innovative group in the past I'd say 20 years. They brought a lot of things to Junkanoo, and they probably won't get a lot of credit for it. The first group I've seen use bamboo on a large scale, the fluorescent paper. There's a lot of things that newer groups would try that the older groups wouldn't try. I don't think it has something to do with age. It's just that when you're younger, you take more risks. You have less to lose. If you come in fourth or fifth, you ain't really worrying about, having to come first or whatever the case may be in that aspect. But they brought a lot of innovative ideas and products to Junkanoo that I've seen. Now back to that question about the mornings. The mornings that stick out to me are something like crime was a good morning for one family. Right. Oh, we put me on the spot now. When it comes to the dates, I have to look at my archive. The Volley Boys, Miss Universe was a good morning. Maybe because they was playing the song Paparazzi. I think that's my...
That was recent.
That to me, when they played Paparazzi, I think that was my proudest moment on Bay Street, although it wasn't directed to me.
Because you feel like,
But it felt like it was, a kind of way. Saxon's, I love Saxon's Candyland.
So Kool-Aid always say he felt like Candyland should have won that parade. And he feel like it was wrong on that parade. So I like, you can be happy that you mentioned that particular parade. Because I never ever talk about any other morning that he was proud of.
I think that was one of Saxon's prettiest mornings, but I don't want to get beat up for this, but here's the thing. Saxons perform better when they bring ugly Junkanoo. I know I can get beat up for that.
No, but I think they know that themselves. Like when
it's like okay, we ain't got a costume. We can rush hard today this morning. Yeah. So that's just my observation. Truth be told, though, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people ask me like right after the parade, "Oh, you see this one costume, that one costume." I can't tell you any specifics about anybody's one particular costume because I'm more interested in getting the shot. But I almost could 9 times out of 10 I could tell you who win the parade.
By what exactly?
Overall, I can give you the overall winner.
I take some stills and you be like.
Just after that's after experiencing every group. Because actually, you should know this as being in the media. You are one of the luckiest people in the world when it comes to Junkanoo because you are actually in the line,
and you see them
but you're not participating. Yeah. Right? So you get the feel. You could feel the crowd's reaction. You could feel the group's reaction. You could feel the judges' reaction. You could tell.
Yeah.
And most Junkanoos could tell you who win the parade, but they're not going to do it, right?
Because a lot of times, like this past morning, when it was like tight these last 2 months, I was like, because people be asking me, "Wait, this one win, wait, this one." I say, "Bro, it ain't easy like that, dog. Like tough. Like I didn't see how it looked like up close. I didn't see how they move because you always could tell like." If people feel strong and what they bring, they coming on the gate with a little bit more
energy. Yes.
You can see it on the face of the dancers, and then crowd. Well, because what I've noticed, right? Because people always feel like Junkanoo is a Volley versus Saxon, but it's more so a Volley versus everybody. Or whatever. And
I'm so glad you said that because it's true.
No, that's true. That's how
it's true. But what I've noticed with the crowd recently, if you good, they can give you your props.
Yeah.
Irregardless of which group it is, if you jamming, they can jam with you.
Yeah.
They still have their favorite, but at the end of the day, they
turn the crowd if you ain't.
Yeah. If you get the crowd on your side, you halfway. You more than halfway there.
Yeah. Because then that would spell more for morale and things like that. I think.
Right, and I think
because I think that's what One Family did last season was come out, execute, and everybody was like, And that was the first time I saw in London, everybody was like just shocked for what they actually.
The presentation?
Yeah.
The presentation was extraordinary. That's one of the top 5. That
because it was like.
But you know what? Let's call a spade a spade. And I hate to use the term spade a spade with the Valley Voice logo, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But controversy time again. The girls are becoming such an integral part of Junkanoo. For me, I think the girls are not, I gotta rephrase that, sorry, the choreographed section, because you can't call them girls anymore.
Yeah, because guys.
It's unisex.
Yeah.
They've been carrying the winner of the last 4 parades, in my opinion. Without one family, girls, Boxing Day, New Year's passed. The rest of the group wasn't spectacular. The alcohol drinking wasn't the spectacular thing. The African. If you take the choreographed section away.
But that's why I think that's why they shocked them, shocked the Junkanoo world like that, because it was like the choreography carried the parade because it gave everybody.
And that's why I said for the last 4 parades, the choreographed section basically carried the parade.
Yeah.
So same with Saxon's Boxing Day, New Year's Pass.
Yeah, because it was like, because of what one family did the year, it's like, okay, y'all gotta carry.
But don't forget now, before the pandemic, the Valley Boys Serengeti, their girls basically carried them down.
Too, because they was there with the zebras and then.
Right, and then previous to that, I remember China morning where the Valley girls pretty much carried them around, carried them to a victory as well. So
the choreography section is somewhat.
It seems to be. It seems to be the momentum of the group. It does, and I have no problem. I love it. I actually love it. One thing I have noticed about, was it the choreography? No, not the choreography. It's a change in Junkanoo that I have noticed though. I love this one. The percentage of females now participating in Junkanoo has gone up tremendously since the pandemic.
You those females on the back line?
Long time. We had females a long time ago, but
I'm saying the small set beating the beat.
Yeah, we have females beating bass drums all throughout the brass. Yeah. But if you look at the front line now of most groups, 75% of the front line of most groups, not including the choreographed section. Yeah. I talk about the ones carrying off the shoulder or naked dancers, are female. Yeah. Yeah, so we almost have a 50-50 balance in Junkanoo now.
Yeah, I think it's become a great mix to where, because, it always was like the choreography section's just girls.
Right.
But then it's like girls is through the whole group.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it.
Which it should be, because, it's an open participation.
Absolutely love it.
But, because it's almost like a symphony orchestra. Like, if you could play...
It's a production.
Yeah.
It's a production. When it comes together well... Yeah. It's a production. So but where it goes wrong though.
Yeah, so I think I like that, where it's like, I like it's getting younger, because it was a time.
Definitely. Junkanoo is not for old people. I think that's one of the reasons I think I'm coming to the climax of my photography career. Junkanoo is not for the old. It takes longer to recuperate after practice. It takes longer to recuperate after parade. It's just like professional sports. You know when it's your time. Junkanoo has a bright future. I'm personally foresee Junkanoo. I hate to use the comparison on the level of, but I can see it being expanded, but not on Bay Street, because I for the life of me, I don't see the expansion unless you
have to make your own like special facility to keep
the infrastructure in place. Take for instance, now if you go from East Street and we go down and we build new infrastructure on both sides of the street with skyboxes along with apartments and shops at the bottom, what has the ability to take bleachers off or facilitate bleachers without obscuring traffic or the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So if we could get to that level then I think, and I shouldn't say I think, we are going to get to that level because it's the evolution. And the persons now who say that Junkanoo is spiritual and they never leave Bay Street, they ain't gonna be here forever.
Yeah, because the argument when people say, "Oh, we should build a facility,"
Is what type of facility you talking
no,
about?
but proper one costs millions and millions because they compare it to what you seen.
The Samba Dome.
Yeah, like,
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil, like what they got.
Okay, I could give you an example of a facility that was built in the Bahamas in the last 5 years. It's going to accommodate Junkanoo if it was built properly.
What?
The port. If it was built properly. If it was built with Junkanoo in mind. They already have a main street. They already have shops on each side. They already have a span shell.
Newport.
Yeah. And see, you're giving me that look right now, but that's lack the vision.
I'm looking at it like, okay, where the bleachers would go. I mean...
But if you built it with the infrastructure in place, instead of building it like copying what already was built across the pond, across the river, across the ocean.
No, they built with the port now is similar to what Marina Village is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you built it, like I said, case in point, I hope you edit this well, because a lot of this got where the port is now, that's where I had envisioned building not new downtown, but a Junkanoo village with exactly what you're talking about. Shops at the bottom, one main strip, one main road. That's the difference. People talking about Samba Dome with a roof. There's no roof. It's one road, shops at the bottom, just like how Bay Street is, and then it's built on a level, tiers, so the bleachers go there when the bleachers need to go in. The next level is your apartments. Top level will be your condos. The top level could be your rooftop restaurant if you so choose. Right? That's income coming in year round. How come they could build a duplicate city on Sandals Island, where most of the shops that you could find on Bay Street you could find across there? How come they could do the same thing? Most of the shops you can find on Bay Street you can find right on the new marina. It's the same concept. But once you add the housing aspect of it, that's a livable city. People gotta pass them shops to support them. And here's the kicker. Now this might be a little controversy. You can say, how you have living and people practicing Junkanoo? Every day is practice. And that's where people will come. Because Junkanoo practice is an event.
Exactly. And that's what something I learned on my journey to where it's like, Junkanoo just Bay Street is like...
If you have 300, 400 people coming to you once a week, what is that?
That's potential market share. That's the potential customer.
So imagine if you invest or you partner with someone who has temporary fencing and you charge a person $1 to come inside your practice. I don't want you to charge 5 or 10, but they say, oh, that don't make no sense or it's too expensive. I want you to charge $1. But they can say, oh, I ain't gonna feel that way. That's small things. You know what revenue you'll have at the end of the Junkanoo season? But yet again, Junkanoo is not a business.
Even though the top brass treat like a business. So,
I have the perfect location for a Junkanoo practice or a Junkanoo group who would like to try that or try that concept. Partner with the racetrack. Long strip, secure parking, and you have to pay to get in.
But the thing about it is Roots and Genesis practice in that area right now.
They practice on the outside of the racetrack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can't control that. People come to practice, you can't control that. You practice inside, they have to pay you $1 to get inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Valley Boys practice there too. Genesis also practice there. All the groups now practicing out by the sports center.
Yeah, it was East Side. Notice.
Okay.
Junkanoo, they live in Stapleton, and I'm like, okay, so I had Genesis move, and I had Roots. So Valley practice. Okay, interesting.
If you practice in there.
You automatically
see, when you say sports center, everybody automatically assume inside the stadium.
Yeah, the sports center is the whole.
No, the whole complex.
Yeah.
From Blue Road to whatever road, including the soccer and the softball stadium around the back is all sports center.
Yeah. And the thing about this is that as you speak about it, how they have the new baseball stadium, people practice, and people watching the bleachers.
Junkanoo has enormous potential and growth, but like you say, the higher ups, I hate to use that terminology. It's just
No, but that's what it is. That's how it is, and that's how everything works in Maine necessarily. Like you are people that sort of was at the root, and they figure out, all right, I put it in enough of my free time in, now I got a benefit off of this. So now, I put myself in a position to always be the buck. Someone start with me, start with me. So, it ain't gonna be until, unfortunately, a lot of them go away to where you start. And then even with that, you can't even trust that because what about the people who was waiting for them to go? I did so they could do the same thing too.
maybe, maybe not. It might be a mass cleaning campaign like what happened with a particular group where just a lot of the members just go simultaneously. I hope you cut that out. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Chris Blackwell gave Junkanoo $1 million maybe 20, 25 years ago, over 10 years. And that seemed like the most amount of money in the world. People were afforded the opportunity to go to college. They were able to start certain things and get certain things done. But $1 million, it isn't the same as it was 25 or 20 years, however long ago it was. But Junkanoo could generate that multiple times over. Multiple times over. The potential for Junkanoo is endless, but people can't see no further than this right here, Bay Street. I see they're having an alumni rush now. I'm supporting it, but once again, smoke and mirrors. What's the benefit of this alumni rush? What are we getting from this alumni rush? What are the schools getting from the alumni rush? How can we monetize the alumni rush? But first thing they jump would be, why you want to monetize it? Because you have bills to pay, you have people to pay. The police gotta pay, the cleanup people gotta pay. This shouldn't have to fall on the government. So if you structure it properly and monetize it.
But that's come to argument with the whole Junkanoo versus Carnival thing. Well, why the government put so much money into Carnival and they never put it into Junkanoo? But then I was like, they already...
Because Junkanoo doesn't have a money-making model. A model that makes money. So their thinking was...
Bahamas, close to the U.S.
Their thinking simply was this. That the carnival owners and the carnival manufacturers and the carnival designers were going to be mostly Junkanooers, and rightfully so. It's majority are Junkanooers, and that's how they were hoping the Junkanooers would benefit from carnival. Now, certain groups were able to do that, but for the most part, the Bahamian people couldn't separate a money-making venture from winning. There's no winning in carnival. Oh, we win. Masqueraders win. We mash them up. These were the type of comments I heard the first 3-4 years. And I was like perplexed. There's no winning in this. You win when you make the sales and you get the money in your pocket. That's when you win. Yeah, you all win that category too. But I mean, there's no... But they did have a category with winning in the first 2 years. There's
Carnival,
yeah.
That's not what people go for. That's like an afterthought.
Yeah.
You go on, the barn owners go in there to make money. And the
rebels go in to have fun.
That's it.
And that goes on to my next point. Yeah. Why don't we have more fun groups that incorporate that Junkanoo element with the fun element? In terms of, okay, I'll charge you $125, $150. You come on board, T-shirt, little raka-laka-laka. Kalikka's doing it now, but...
Yeah, we have some sponsors doing it.
Kalikka's doing it. Did you hear what you say just now?
This is the sponsors.
So who's the winner once again?
The people that make the goal control the rules, bro. Any final thoughts that you got.
I want some. I want to put in some fillers. We ain't talk about the photography side hardly. So let me just talk about photography real quick.
Let's go right there.
Okay. Like I said before, the changes in photography over the years, everybody has a cell phone, everybody has a smartphone now. So everybody basically documents their own family member. What I am still able to do is go where they can go. That's like in the back line. I go where most photographers are afraid to go. Yeah, I said it out loud. I get the shots basically because I go and I get the little nicks on the side and I bump into them and they give you the look and you be like, yeah, sorry, but I found that the best way to get the back line to cooperate with you, simply take that picture. Mm-hmm. Click, and then you just gesture, say you want to go that way, and guess what? And mine can move side to side, move to the side. If you don't take his picture, then he can move.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what the fun is. I'll just walk in the crowd, and I point, and they'll come to me, and then
they love to get. See, that's the difference between 2006 and now. Everybody is so camera conscious and so social media conscious, and everybody wants to put themselves out there. Yeah. It's all about me, and I love it. I love it. Instagram, TikTok. It's taking Junkanoo to another level. I tell you one thing I'd like for you to do though. You and all the so-called
Junkanoo. What's your take on
Junkanoo creatives or Junkanoo media?
Yeah.
Y'all need to stop joking. That's what y'all need to stop doing. Stop joking. Stop hating on one another and come together and work together, and you'd be surprised to know what you get. Stop worrying what my boy here doing. You do your thing. But just imagine if you come together, just have a conversation. You can collaborate on so many things. Y'all worry about who used this and who monetizing off of that.
You see, because I was like, I ain't knowing.
I don't have time. I create content, but believe it or not, I don't have time to go back and I'll read the commentary. If someone reach me, they'll read me through the messages, whatever the case may be, but hardly ever do I ever go back on something they put on social media. Ever. So if you put a bad comment there, I would never know.
Yeah. But I think Junkanoo media is super important now, especially with social media.
But y'all getting run off Bay Street.
You said we getting robbed?
Run.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I didn't even forget about that. All right, let's talk about the treatment of Junkanoo media on Bay Street and why I've contemplated like, hey, forget this. You ain't about to push me in my back and always yell at me. Even though I switch up things this year and be like, come off of Rosslyn Square and just be like, all right, let me just go down to the base and get my shots, what I need, and my content and call it a day. Without having to worry about getting hassled on the square. Yeah.
For most groups, they consider Rosslyn Square to be like the holy grail of Junkanoo, which is just totally rubbish. Rosslyn Square isn't even a judging zone. The judging zone is just before Rosslyn Square. All Rosslyn Square is the dignitaries and the majority of the fans, because that's the one spot where we have the ability to put bleachers properly on Bay Street. Now, marshals, they just need to be re-educated when it comes to Junkanoo. I've been pushed in the back, I've been cursed at, I've been done everything. But called a child of God, but then at the end of the day, they still want to see themselves. They still want to see, well, how come I get no pictures of this particular group? Because once you do that to me, I'm not shooting it anymore. Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people notice, there's certain groups I just don't shoot, period. And this year is even worse. I've spent more time this year on the craft, on my ability to get the best shot, as opposed to trying to get every shot. Because when I try to take every shot, 40% stay in the computer and they never see it at all because they're just not usable, in my opinion, or to my standard. But stick and move. That's the best advice I have for any creative or anybody working in Junkanoo media, because the people behind you playing for the bleachers, they complaining, the police complaining, the marshals complaining. So the best thing to do
Cleaning.
is to keep moving. Keep
Yeah.
moving. Don't just keep moving and flow with the group.
Yeah.
So when it's group flow, you flow with the group. If you have to move forward, you get eye contact and you just basically let them know which direction you want to go in. And I learned that technique from a foreign photographer, believe it or not. It was this little short lady, but so big. And she jumped in that back line like it was nobody business. And she gone there, she got her shots, buddy. She was there snapping and going down. I was like, oh, Superwoman.
Yeah, but I think I saw that the previous year. And I was like, you know what? Nice thing I saw. I was watching AMG.
Okay.
I saw him one year. Just like, you know what? I need to start doing this. Just instead of trying to get.
I wonder where he got that from.
You just say we gotta get together.
Me? I on my way out, bro. I'm on my way out.
So I was like, okay, to me, we. But it's like, for me, is then you go with the flow and then you get to the side to where the back line can come through and you could be in the back and then you just go forward versus having to wait until they come all the way off of the square.
And don't be timid because they eat that up. They will spank you with them drum and yeah. But hey, love Junkanoo. Final words. I love Junkanoo too much. I go in the shower, I think about ways of making Junkanoo better. I'm not going to be taking Junkanoo photographs forever, so I am now looking into other ventures or other ways to participate and make a contribution to Junkanoo. JCNP, I come in. I'm coming. Because the system as it is now, where the chairman of the JCNP has to be, or not necessarily has to be, but this unwritten rule that they have to be associated with the Junkanoo group, isn't helping Junkanoo. It might be helping their group, but it's not helping Junkanoo. We need to move Junkanoo forward. And Junkanoo needs an autonomous person who's interested in moving Junkanoo forward, like how the NBA has a commissioner. Mm-hmm. And even in some cases, they are ownership or have some ownership related, but at least they're looking out for Junkanoo or to NBA as a whole, not just one particular team. Yeah. Well, maybe the Lakers, but that's another subject for another day. But we need to try and figure out what direction we want Junkanoo to go in. I think it was about 5 years ago, we had a symposium, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, the future Junkanoo, where we wanted to go. Haven't heard anything about it since. Junkanoo think tank. Ideas of how and ways to make Junkanoo better for everybody. Proposal put in, haven't heard anything since. It's going to take us to move Junkanoo forward. We can't wait on the government to move it forward. We can't wait on a Chris Blackwell to produce another $1 million to try and sway it in the direction they want it to go in. We, Junkanooers, Junkanoo, whatever you want to call us, have to decide and move forward where we want Junkanoo to go. We want to go anti-crepe paper, 75% crepe paper, 50% crepe paper. We have to decide. And it doesn't make sense us coming at the end of the parade and saying, oh, this group ain't using no crepe paper, they shouldn't win, or this group come with just T-shirt. The rules is the rules. We create the rules. That's why we have so many rules. I love Junkanoo.